Welcome back to Talking EdTech. I'm Jesse Roberts. I'm joined today with Jason Hicks, Daniel Vanover, and our special guest, Mr. William Austin. Mr. William Austin is an educator of 28 years. He started here locally at John I. Burton High School, and he is currently at the Career and Technical Center as the assistant principal.
Mr. Austin, you've definitely had different things and different positions in education. How long have you been in career and technical education?
Well, I've been doing career and tech now for about 10 years, given the fact that I first started when I was in another school system in Carroll County, and as an assistant principal there, I was in charge of the career and technical program for the high school, which was the only high school in the county.
One of my schools as an ITRT is the Career and Technical, and I've seen a lot of interesting things up there. One is with Mr. Tom Miller's class with 3D printing and the students' use of AutoCAD. Also, in Mr. Kelly Fleming's class, the criminal justice class, they have a first-person simulator where the students will go through and Mr. Fleming will put them through different scenarios, and he grades them based on their reactions with this. Also, downstairs, the Welding Simulator that Mr. Robinson utilizes. Is there any other technologies you could share with us and with the people watching that Career and Tech has to offer students?
Well, yes, we have quite a few programs which utilize technology, and as you mentioned, I'll just elaborate a little bit on some of the ones you've mentioned. Of course, in our drafting program, we utilize a lot of technology, and drafting, of course, is a STEM-related program, and of course, STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, math, and medical. And if you're in the drafting program, then more likely you're looking at getting into the career fields of engineering or architecture or surveying, or there's a number of other fields that you could get into that are related to that. But we use a lot of different software programs in there. One of the software programs we utilize includes AutoCAD and AutoCAM. And AutoCAM is the manufacturing component of the software. And we also use some related programs, architectural drafting and Revit. And basically what this does is, most people are very familiar with like the blueprint, where you have a flat piece of paper and you have lines drawn or whatever. But these software programs allows the user to go in and create a virtual 2D or 3D program, in which you can, once you've designed it, you can take a window out, you can put a window into a wall, and the relationship inside the program allows you to view that wall and what it looks like with both of them. So it's almost a 3D look. It's almost a walkthrough type thing, a virtual reality walkthrough. And it's a great program, it really is, and it's utilized. Really, that's where most of the drafting is today. That's where that program is. So students need to be able to do that.
I mean, when I was a student, you had drafting as a course, and you always heard the term computer-aided drafting. So I guess we're to the point where drafting is no longer computer-aided. It's just you have to have computer skills and technology skills to be in that field.
Oh, absolutely. Well, like I said, you will still enter the figures as far as like dimensional type things, but you can take your cursor and go on to that, what used to be a flat piece of paper, and basically with one click, you've now created a 3D structure that you can actually enter into and do a walk around, virtual reality walk around. And it helps, of course, in the design pattern so that you can actually see what's going on before you commit to that particular project.
And you brought some pretty neat examples of some 3D prints.
Well, these are 3D objects that have been created out of the drafting program. And what they are, these are used with a software program called Inventor. And Inventor has really revolutionized the mechanical industry, because what it does is it takes 3D drawings on the computer and it converts them to files that lets 3D objects be printed by a printer. And it creates objects such as a special tool that you might use, such as the one you might see here, or even a bolt, a specific bolt with threads and things like that. And this is one of the most interesting things, I think. Hopefully you can see this, but this is a rocket fan. So basically, it even has pitch and all of those design features that are incorporated into it. Also, some other examples, of course, we have some chess pieces that you can see that have been created with the 3D printer, as well as images. And these are just images and sculptures. And so it's a wonderful program. And that's where drafting is now. If you're in the field of drafting, that's where you need to be. It's no longer just a flat piece of paper.
Nice.
One of the other programs you had asked about was the criminal justice program. And of course, in the criminal justice program, one of the great things we have going on right now is we have what's called a firearms training simulator. And what that does is it utilizes software. This software is capable of detecting an invisible laser, and when this laser is pointed at a specific spot on a life-size screen, then it can detect very accurately where this laser is hitting in relationship to that screen. So you can utilize this program for things like target practice, to see how close you can get to the bullseye without actually having to fire a gun, and at the same time you're stressing firearm safety, or when you should use a firearm or when not to use a firearm. You can create scenarios such as an armed robbery or an engaged shooter, where you might go into a place where even where you might have someone who's hiding behind a corner or whatever, and you have to encounter them and make a split-second decision in regard to whether you have to fire or not fire. And those are things that are very hard to simulate, without this type of a software program. It's once again, it's a great program, great tool for teaching students in the criminal justice program.
I've been fortunate enough to actually, Mr. Filliman's let me try it out, and it is a pretty neat little piece of software. The weapon that you fire, it actually has recoil to it. It's real life like. You have to change the magazines. Now, he did cheat on me in the simulation. He did throw a hand grenade at me, so I won't hold that against him, but it was a neat little piece of technology.
Well, I'll tell you, if you ever have the opportunity to actually interact with this program, it looks real. I think your heart will start beating faster. All those things that actually happen in real life are simulated here, because you really feel like you're a part of this program, and it's a great training tool.
Well, talking about that, going from that first-person view to, I guess that leads to our next topic, is the virtual reality that the welding instructor uses.
Yes, we also have a welding simulator, and the welding simulator, basically what it does is it shows the student engaged in the process of actually welding, and it tells the student, first off, it will help to teach the student how to weld without them having to burn up rods or use those consumable products, and it also guides their hands, because there's a specific way you need to be able to hold the tools in the welding program, and it monitors those and tells you how well you're doing, and also tells you as far as your speed, how fast are you going. And that's extremely important, because just from what I know about welding, when you're creating a weld, you have to have complete coverage. You can't have any air in it, and actually they weld. They X-ray weld to check and make sure that it's adequate for the job that it's supposed to do. So if you were working a job, you have to be very good. You have to be very skilled to be a welder, and you have to be very skilled at your job in some of these situations. When you're welding things together, they could mean the difference between life and death, especially if something's like a bridge or something's overhanging or something like that, or needs to have a certain strength. So this welding simulator, it gives you a pretty fast readback about how well you're doing in regard to that. And once again, it's both stick and MIG welding that it teaches. So once again, great technology.
I saw a while back that welding is going to be a really growing industry, that a lot of the welders that we have now in the U.S. are getting to their retirement age, and that they're really going to need a lot of new welders in our country to do some projects with.
We are, and of course, I know if you're following politics and things like that now, you're hearing about the infrastructure and stuff in the United States, and how we need to address certain issues in regard to that. So once again, you're going to need these skilled people who can be, welders and who can go in, and there's great money to be made in that. And when you think about the welding, once again, you think about just people that basically you might see welding very small jobs, but welding encompasses a lot of things. You have underwater welding, where you can go work on ships, or you might have to work on structures on oil rigs, or whatever that case may be. So it's not just, a tack here or a tack there. It's much more involved than that. And like I said, so the more skilled you are, the better chance of employment and the better chance of higher level of employment you can have too.
That's three pretty interesting technologies. What's something else you'd like to share with us that you have to offer in your building?
Well, one of the big things we have now, and we brought a couple examples here you can see with our woodwork, is we have what's known as a CNC router. And CNC stands for Computerized Numerical Control Router. And it uses innovative software to direct a router. And basically what it does is it tells that router how far to travel, both in longitude and latitude, and also in depth. And so it uses that router bit, it tells it how deep the router bit needs to go to create specific designs. You can have anything from engravings, which you see here, the engraving, I think, of the little horse, which was created at the school, and that is a wonderful drawing. It's very specific. You don't really realize it until you look at it very close how specific it is. But we have that, and then you can see the other drawing, which is a profile picture. And basically what we did was we took a picture on a cell phone of a person, and some people might recognize that profile, but it's a side profile of one of our teachers. And it was uploaded onto the computer, and then of course the coordinates were fixed into the computer, and the CNC router then cut it out basically. So this CNC router, I don't think most people think about, some of the uses that, it's used for. Not only is it used for wood and engraving, and it can make a mask out of this wood, and of course we're looking at maybe the possibility of in the future adding some other components to this, which might even be like a rotational arm on that router that might allow you to go in and, do some side work also or things. So those are all things that are going to be, sort of futuristic, I guess, but that's sort of where we try and stay as far as at the Wise County Career and Technical Center. We want to be teaching those skills that are going to lead into the future employment, not past employment or things that are going out of date. We want to be on the cutting edge. So this is one of the things that really helps us in regard to that area. Another thing that CNC is used in, a lot of people don't think about, is metal. Where a CNC will go into a block of metal, a solid block of metal, and it can create sculptures there. And also a big one that I know I hadn't thought about really until the other day is like masonry, such as cutting, stone cutting or anything like that. If you think about it, like a headstone for, in the cemetery or whatever, the headstone there, a lot of those are cut with the CNC machine, lettering on those, because, they don't use the hammer and chisel, I don't think, very much anymore. It's a whole new world now, a whole new game.
Yeah, a lot of these kind of things, like this wood cutting, those are high dollar pieces sometimes. You go to Gatlinburg, you're going to be paying a bunch of money for somebody to cut something like that. And you're teaching kids to do this on their own.
That's an excellent point, Mr. Ranover. The other day we created a sign, basically, that we had requested, and it was for sort of an individual, but they were also saying it could have been for like a bed and breakfast or anything like that, and it was designed in wood, and it took probably the whole project could have taken somewhat around an hour. But I would say at the end of that time, we could have sold, if we had actually sold that, it would have probably sold for around $300. So if someone wanted to get into that business and had the operating capital to start that business and buy the machinery that would be needed, like the CNC machine or a planer or things like that, then there's certainly a lot of opportunity to go into that type business.
Yeah. One of the great things about Career and Tech, I see, is that when kids come out, you've mentioned this, when your students come out, they have real world skills that are ready to make them employable. What are some of the different professional certifications that students can get up there at the Career and Technical Center?
Well, I tell you, I want to answer that, but before I move on, I want one more thing I want to mention in regard to our use of software, because we have so much really, and I don't want to leave anyone out in regard to that. But like in our automotive program, if you go walk in our automotive program, you'll see students sitting in the seat of a car or whatever and look, and they'll have a laptop open. That laptop will be attached to that car. And basically what they're doing is they're getting some kind of read through the computer system on that car as far as how well that car is currently performing, or specific issues that it might be having, or, so it's diagnosing problems. And the students can take that information and then take it back and use some software called CDX that we utilize at the Career Tech Center. And they can, having diagnosed what issues going on, then they can diagnose what we need to do to be able to fix that vehicle. And even down to alignment, tire alignment. It used to be there was a machine that would be set up, and it was set in such a way that the front wheels were aligned with the back wheels or whatever. Well, now we use lasers, and all that's computerized. And we have a software program in which the lasers actually are set up to get it, much, much closer than it used to be. And once again, these are all programs that are used right now. These programs are being used right now, like in our dealership. So I guess that sort of leads into Mr. Hicks, your question in regard to what kind of, how are we, preparing those for certification, things like that. In the automotive program, we have students who get up to 10 ASE certifications. And with those ASE certifications, that is a nationally recognized certification, which means I have taken a test in regard to, for example, brakes, or the electrical system in a car, or the engine part of a car. And I have passed this test. And so they can walk out with that particular certification, walk into any dealership and say, I have ASE certification in 10 specific areas, involving cars. You can actually get even more than that, but we offer for 10. And we have a great pass rate in regard to the number of students that take that. Some of our other certifications that we offer everything in the word processing, or in some of our business classes, especially at the high school. We offer PowerPoint certification in those areas. We also offer licensures in cosmetology, which I'm going to talk about just a little bit later. And in our CNA program, you can get licensed there. And if you're a licensed person in CNA, you can go to work automatically. Hospitals around here, rest homes, things like that. They're all the time advertising that they need CNA people. And so, like I said, all that's available basically just by going through the Career and Technical Center. There's not a lot extra. All the tests are offered free of charge. It costs the students nothing to take those tests. And even some of those licensures are free of charge for the student. They don't have to pay for those.
Yeah. Awesome. Cool. So all these licensures and everything, these are kids that are becoming very successful when they leave CTC. What is your most favorite success story from being up at the Career Technical Center and seeing a kid just become successful in what they've been able to accomplish there?
Well, I'll tell you, I've seen a lot of success stories, and I guess I'd want to start by just saying this, and that is that I think one of the greatest things as a teacher or as an administrator is when you see a student, and that student is very proud of the work that they have done. And I think Wise County Career Technical Center, or at the Wise County Career Technical Center, we give students that opportunity to be proud of themselves because we give them the opportunity to achieve. Sometimes these students haven't achieved in specific other areas, but because they found a special interest, they are now a high achiever. And that makes them very proud. And that, to me, is one of the most satisfying things I think you can find as an educator. But specifically, I guess, to go into some of the things I guess we can sort of crow a little bit about or brag a little bit about, is we've turned out some students in the last few years that have, or really not the last few years, but a number of years now, that have gone in and opened up their own businesses. Currently, we have a student who just a few years ago, locally, has opened up, she went through our cosmetology program, she opened up her own business, and now she employs 6 other workers in her business, and all 6 of those workers went through our cosmetology program. So not only are they being successful on their own, and have we been able to train that one person to go out and make money for themselves, but also we're creating that chain that helps, that cycle that helps to reinvigorate or re-energize our community. So we have a number of success stories. We have a young man who a few years ago he finished first in the state of Virginia in the cosmetology program and 9th in the nation. And right now he is in high demand as far as a cosmetologist. and it's making quite a bit of money, a lot more than either the four of us are making as we sit here, just to be honest with you. And he's doing wonderful. Another, don't want to go on about cosmetology, but we've had some really successful students go through there. We have another student who, along with her mom, owns her own salon, and she's a Paul Mitchell representative, which in talking about that, I was threatened to make sure that I realized Paul Mitchell, because I know I didn't really know all that about Paul Mitchell, but he is certainly one of the most famous people, I guess, in the hair care line and things like that. And so to be a representative for them, and she is actually educating other people now, and to be an educator in that's a pretty big deal. So those are some success stories I think that I can relate to that I've seen, just recently in our programs. We have another example of a student who went through the culinary arts program. He recently, once again locally, opened up his own business. He has a catering business, and he's once again educating other people. He's actually teaching classes there. So in addition to that, the number of people that we have, students that we have that have come through the career and technical school, that are working at hospitals, that are working at rest homes, that are working in car dealerships, working with their own businesses in garages or for someone else, or working, having gone on to Virginia Tech and gotten engineering degrees or whatever the case may be, and some of them working on building bridges and building roads. We have all kinds of success stories. So we're very, very happy with the students that actually go through the program, and we've had some real success stories.
I've always said, career tech, I've been able to serve it for the last 3 years. It truly is the hidden jewel in Wise County. If you have never been able to go up there and tour it or go see the students in action, I highly encourage anybody watching this to go up there and see what these students are able to do. It is absolutely wonderful seeing what they can produce. The things we have here in front of us are, just some prime examples of that. Some of the great work that these students and teachers are doing up there.
Oh, yeah, not only have great programs, but they've got some very, very dedicated and passionate teachers and administrators up there that are helping these kids be successful. And we go on and see them open these their own businesses, and they're giving back to our community, these folks here.
Well, and I totally agree, and we really appreciate it when we hear people say things like that. And we're always hopeful that people will, drop by and see us or come through and look at the programs we're offering. We're always eager to give those tours. And this year I've gotten a lot of phone calls from people who have said, "Hey, my daughter or my son have come home and they said they're interested in this particular program. Can you tell me a little bit about that?" And I know in talking to you guys, one of the reasons we're doing this program, and hopefully we're going to do some other things too, is we want to bring that out. We want people to recognize the jewel, as you said, that is available for students here in Wise County. And once again, I want to reiterate one of the things that you said, and that is we do have dedicated instructors. And these are people, a lot of the people that we have a tremendous amount of lifetime experience. I mean, when you take a lot of the career and technical classes, you're not just going to get what they're reading out of a book, or you're not going to just get something that they've drawn up for you. You're going to get their real life experience, whether it be working on a car, or whether it be as a deputy sheriff, or working in law enforcement, or whether it be in the area of drafting, like we mentioned, Mr. Miller here, who had worked in that particular area. Same with our nursing instructor. She does a wonderful job. We have really, really, truly committed teachers that work really hard.
If there's any parents or any students out there who would like to reach out and ask about some of your programs, how do they get a hold of it?
Well, you can always go on the Wise County website. That's one of the easiest things to do. And you can go on and you'll see there Mr. Hamilton, who's our principal. You'll see his email address. My name's Mr. Austin, email address there. Or you can just simply pick up a telephone if you'd like and call and ask to speak to either one of us. And numbers are, of course, area code 276-328-6113. And we'd be glad to talk to you about any of our programs.
Well, we surely appreciate you coming out and letting us interview you today. And if you have never checked out the Wise County Career and Technical Center, we really, really urge you to check it out. Check out their website. I'll throw the website link down here below, and you'll be able to check out that website. And if you have any questions, like Mr. Austin said, he's welcome to take them through email, and I'll throw his email address down here as well. So we do appreciate everyone tuning in, and again, we really appreciate Mr. Austin and all of the Career and Technical Center staff and employees there, because they're making a big difference for our students, and we're really, really proud to have that jewel in our school system. So this is us signing off, and we really appreciate you joining us for another Talking Ed Tech. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time.